There's a man named Jong. You may have heard of him. He had a dream. Well, we all have dreams. This was an awake dream that became reality. What's actually really cool about this in the arcade space is that he's doing something different that not any other ones are. Like Arcade 1-Up is kind of trying to hit the nostalgia, At Games is trying to hit kind of doing the multi-cade and you get to play from Steam, where this is more, it has more beefed up hardware to play even some current gen games on there. You just go to their store. You can actually just pick which game you want, purchase it, downloads it right onto the arcade, which is very cool. So you don't have to have a bunch of clutter of games that you don't want. It does come with 11 that you can pre-install right away. It's kind of a cool feature when you think about it, because there's some really cool ones coming down the pipeline of newer ones like Dead Cells, new Retromania Wrestling. That's going to be pretty cool just to actually be able to play on arcade. Like, yes, you can get it on Switch, Steam, but to be able to play that on arcade at home is very cool. So first, let's talk about the screen.
First impressions, the screen looks incredible. Probably the best screen I think I've seen on a home arcade cabinet so far. I was really impressed just the first time I looked at it, and even retro games that play on it look really, really good. I'm also really impressed by how good some even like current gen games that have been made for it look on there.
Even the viewing angles also are super impressive. So once again, to see it on video is completely different to see it in person. It is very clear. I think that's very impressive. They did an amazing job on that. We do want to point out that there's 3 models available, so you can get the standard edition one, or the Dragon's Lair like we have here, or the black edition. And keep in mind, the black edition will come with the Double Dragon artwork. You don't have to put it on. You can just keep it completely black, which is why they call it the black edition, hint hint. But the Dragon's Lair and black edition come with 128 gigs instead of the 64, and it comes with the Sanwa sticks. And I'm sure you can tell right away the sticks are super nice on there compared to some of the cheaper arcade cabinets.
It just has a very authentic feel to the sticks and the buttons. Screen looks incredible.
And I will say the buttons are not Sanwa, but they do kind of have what Jordan and I were talking about, almost like a keyboard clicky to it. Like it feels like you're typing almost on a keyboard with they're nice. Like I actually like them. So I don't think people need to switch them out unless they have a preference of HAP or want to put Sanwa buttons on there. Keep in mind, one thing to point out, if you do swap out the buttons, it does void the warranty, but I don't think you need to. Then you have the cool added effect of nice speakers. I mean, these are loud, guys.
That gets ridiculously loud.
It's ridiculous. Yeah. Like we were playing at volume 1 or 2 on there, I think. If you went up to halfway, I mean, it's loud. I think more importantly, they sound good at lower volumes.
And they're angled straight at you as well.
True.
So I think that helps.
And then of course, if you want to have a, late gaming session, you got some kids asleep, you got a headphone jack in there to stick some headphone, which is awesome because once again, we want to point out the future of what this could be, where if you have some RPGs on there and you want to play a long game session, or you're playing online with a friend, you have that option too. And then of course HDMI out, which is really neat for someone like us that does streaming, because there's some games we hope in the future come to it that we can actually stream from that arcade.
We also want to mention a feature that we both really like, and that is the pause button and the power button. So you can pause any game, pause and start it with the pause button, but you can also hit the power button, turn the screen off, and then immediately hit the power button again and start right where you started, which is very common in today's consoles, similar to how the PS5 or Xbox or even the Vita or the Switch worked. And I think that's actually a great thing, because I mean, if you need to go somewhere real quick, you can just hit the power button. You don't lose any of your progress or mess up the game by needing to stop for a second.
But I think the biggest thing about it is the quality overall. I mean, it's hefty, nicely built. I just think the idea of it for the future is what's cool. Like I said, the games that are coming out, I'm getting East 1 and 2, Gunbird 2, which is one of my favorite Dreamcast games, Retromania Wrestling, Dead Cells, and of course, for the future, I'm really hoping they even bring over some Street Fighters and Tekken, whatever it might be, onto it, which would be really cool. So the possibilities are pretty huge for this thing.
How do you think it compares to a arcade 1-up as far as size and...
I'm around 6'2", and for me, I think that the iiRcade feels super comfortable. The control deck's definitely higher.
I would agree.
Yeah, and I kind of like that. So I personally like it. I still think it fits together with those arcades, but it's definitely higher up, and I actually kind of prefer it. I also prefer how the screen's angled. What's your thoughts on your height and everything too?
I'm 5'7", and being quite a bit shorter than Adam, I actually feel it's very comfortable as well. I mean, I feel like it really is the perfect height.
And look how tall it is.
It really is.
You have to claw it.
Kind of.
And we're standing right now.
No.
A couple of things too we wanted to mention for areas that they could definitely hopefully improve on in the future was the plexiglass that's on the front of the monitor there. That only comes to where one side was wrapped and not the other side. It looks like I got lucky on mine to where mine's not very scratched up like others were, but the way it sits onto the screen, it kind of sits in there with nothing holding it in place. It's like stuck in between the top and the control deck, so it's always kind of sagging. So what I did on ours was we just took some sticky tack that we had left over from this project over at the house, and we actually put it on all the edges. We put 8 pieces, and that sticky tack is actually holding it in place from sliding it all down.
It works very well.
Yeah, it works very well.
It seems very solid in place.
At the same time, it does look really clean not having the screws on the front. As you see, there's nothing holding this bezel piece up. There's no screws or anything. Normally this would be sitting down here and you're trying to hold it up as you're sticking the control deck inside. So
you're talking the entire screen itself.
There's just the plastic bezel.
The plastic in front of it.
Yep. Screen itself is already attached to the wood, but this black bezel plexiglass, that thing would be sitting here dropped. So on the sticky tack, as you see, it is stuck. Final impressions for me, I'm like very excited about the product and what Jong's trying to do. And for someone that wants to play retro and more current games on an arcade that are licensed, and the fact that you can just go to the store and pick what you want. I do want to point out too, if you get a game and you play it for a little bit, I don't know what the time limit is off the top of my head, but you can get a refund if you aren't a huge fan. By the way, I think the sleeper hit on this arcade right now is Heavy Smash. That game is a complete blast, something I don't know why I've never played before, but I've been having a blast with that game.
I am shocked that you got that goal that quickly.
I'm good, Jordan. My impressions, very excited about what Jong's trying to do and the future of iiRcade. I think it's a very cool concept. What's your thoughts?
I think it's amazing. Like I said, it's probably one of my favorite arcades we've looked at, just because of how great it feels, how great the screen is, and the fact that it's so versatile. You can download so many games for it. There's tons of retro games. There's tons of games that like you've never heard of, and then there's even newer gen games like Dead Cells coming to it. That's just crazy. It's gonna be a cabinet I see us using and playing with for a long time to come.
Very excited about it.
But seriously, it's amazing. And we really hope you've liked this video. If you have, make sure you give it a like, comment, and subscribe, and we will see you on the next one.
Thanks, guys.
See ya.